Hey y'all, this is Abby from Catching Colorflies Designs. You might also know me from Mama's Gone Crafty. If you know anything about me, you know that I make paper flowers. I make giant ones, I make small ones. Today I'm going to talk to you about my giant paper flowers and just go over a live screen capture here of how to lay them out with your cutting machine. Clear up any general questions that some people have about this. So we're going to get started with that. I am using Cricut software here. It's just my personal preference. I'm not endorsing anything, it's just my personal preference. All this will work with Silhouette as well. You're just going to have to follow it on using your tools with Silhouette. So real quick before I bring in any petals here, the reason I'm doing this is because the petals that I save for my giant flowers, any of my flowers really, but the giant flowers tend to be more of a problem. They don't save to the same size as, they don't upload to the same size as I saved them in. Let me say that again. So usually I will save like my extra large petal to be an 8.5 by 11, fit within that sheet of paper. It doesn't like to upload it to that size though. It generally uploads it to like 12 inches. I think it assumes you want it to be on a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, and that's not always the case. So I'm making this video to just clear up how we resize everything real easily and give you a step-by-step guide for anyone who's using a cutting machine. You, again, can use this no matter what machine you are choosing to use. You're just going to pay attention to your on-screen margins here. We're going to work all within 8.5 by 11 paper. You can use 12 by 12 if you want to, but I use 8.5 by 11. It's much easier to find what you need in that usually, and more cost-effective. This is my first time making a live screen capture, and my first time speaking as well, so please kindly bear with me. Try to communicate as best I can here. I usually work better through writing, but I needed to do this just to give better clarification. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start with just a simple upload. Once you download your files from me, you'll need to upload them to your software. You probably are already familiar with this unless you're brand new. Browse your computer. I'm going to use my Priscilla design since it's just a really popular design. Click your Save button. You can use a PNG image if you want to and save it as a vector, but there's no reason you can't use an SVG. If you're using a Silhouette, you can use DXF files. I don't generally include DXF files. If you need them, please feel free to contact me and I will get them to you as soon as I receive your message and I'm able to do so. I do not generally give out Silhouette studio files because Silhouette owns the copyrights to that, and I don't like selling or giving out things that are not my copyrights. Make sure you have your green check mark on whatever petal you want to use. Insert your image. You can see what I'm talking about here, but it's almost at 13, and that's not what I saved it as. I actually saved it as about 10.5 by 7.5. So I'm going to walk you through how to make an extra large, a large, and a medium flower by just laying out your petals here and subtracting layers to downsize or to increase. This is going to be your extra large petal, which is your first layer for an extra large flower. Real easy, one petal per 8.5 by 11 page. So we're going to be flipping back and forth here between a portrait layout of your page on your mat and a landscape layout when you put your paper on your mat. So this one's going to be portrait, obviously. We're within the 8.5 up here, and we're going down to 10.5 here. You're going to want to cut 6 to 8 of these petals. I'm just going ahead and duplicate this petal real quick here. And I want you to see the progression, so I'm going to hide this petal here. Now we're moving on to our large petal, the next sequence of the next layer. I'm going to duplicate this. We want to mirror and reverse the petal. It doesn't save a lot of space, but it does save some paper waste. So I like to do it this way just to try to maximize paper usage. You're going to need to make sure you use your attach button. If you don't use your attach button, the petals will not stay like this when you go to your cut screen. We're going to be using a landscape layout when we put our paper on our mat. So that means you need to be within 11 inches along the top. So right here I am at 11 inches, and we're right at about 8.5. I'm going to shrink it down just a little bit more. This is for your large petal. This would be your second layer if you're making an extra large flower, or if you're making a large flower, this could be your first layer. Extra large flowers generally measure about 17 inches once built, and large ones measure about 13 inches once built. So this is going to be your large petal. You're going to need to cut 6 to 8 of these. I generally tend to lean towards 8 if anyone's wondering. It just makes a bit of a bigger flower, but it's your call, your preference. So I'm going to duplicate this again, and I'm going to hide these because I want you to see again the progression as we go. We're moving on to our third layer. This is your medium petal. We're going to shrink this down. We're going to duplicate it. We're going to move it. It should have 4 petals. Select all of them. Now we're at 12.5 here, so we need to shrink it quite a bit down. Now we're at 11. And we're within the 8.5 here. So you're going to lay it portrait style on your mat, where the 11-inch side is going down, 8.5-inch side is going along the top. You're going to cut 6 to 8 of these again. And you probably will want to put your attach button also before you go to your screen for all of these. After you get past the extra large petal, where it's just the single petal, you're going to want to use your attach button because it'll move it just a little bit when you go to your cut screen. You don't want that to happen. So we're going to go ahead and duplicate this. I'm going to hide these. And when you get to this point, you're going to have to detach. I'm going to copy 2 of these petals, move them over, so everything is nice and tightly together, so we're maximizing our paper usage. Select all. And I'm going to shrink down so that we're within 8.5 here, and we're going to be about 8.5 by 8.5. So that's good. There's going to be 6 petals per page for your small petal. 6 petals per 8.5 by 11 page. I usually lay this one landscape. So your 11-inch one will be along the top, and your 8.5 inches will be this direction here. Again, make sure you're using your attach button before going to your cut screen. We're going to duplicate this one more time. Hide all these. This would be your 5th layer that we're making now if you're making an extra large flower, or your 4th layer if you're making a large, or you can use these smaller petals just to make some really small mini flowers as well if you want to just play around with that. I'm going to detach these again. I'm going to copy 2 more of them. Hit your duplicate button. Select all. And we're going to shrink it down just a little bit more, just to have a little bit smaller petal. It's within the 11 inches along the top, 8.5 inches. You're going to have 8 petals per page. Again, make sure to use your attach button so that they stay close together when you go to your cut screen. Okay, so that's how you lay out each size petal for an extra large petal, a large, medium, small, and extra small petal. So I'm going to show you real quick. everything from start to finish so you can clearly see the progression. We started here with an extra large petal, portrait layout, 6 to 8 of these. Then we move to your large petal, 2 to an 8.5 by 11 sheet, 11 inches along the top. You're going to cut 6 to 8 of these. Start here if you're wanting to make a large flower. This is your medium petal, your third layer for an extra large or your second layer for a large. If you want to make a medium flower with like 3 layers to it, you can start here. You can even still make a medium flower with 4 or 5 layers to it. Just use extra of the same petal in the extra layers, and it'll still create a smaller flower. So this is for your medium, and you're going to have it portrait layout here. This one here is your small petal. It's going to be laid landscape, 6 petals to a page, 6 to 8 of those as well. And lastly, you will have your 8 petals to one 8.5 by 11 page laid landscape, meaning the 11 inches along the top. And you're going to need 6 to 8 of those, which is already kind of there for you. So that is how we do it. Pretty easy once you get the hang of it. I like this method. It's my personal designed method. There are lots of people out there who have different methods. That's great. That's wonderful. If you love them better, you can please feel free to use them. This is just my personal method that I like and works well with the designs that I have come up with. So you can see how you can easily downsize your layers, how you can lay everything out. This can be used for any flower in my shop except the rose designs. If you have any questions, feel free to kindly please leave a comment in the comment section. I will be happy to answer you as soon as I am able to. Then lastly, with this project here that we've done in Cricut, it's also convenient to duplicate everything like I just showed you here, where I've saved all the layers and just hidden the items here that I'm not cutting currently. You can then save the project in here, and when you're done laying it out, you never have to lay it out again. You can just go to your saved project and, click all the petals on and off as you want to cut them, and you never have to go through the process of laying out again. So it's really convenient to just save the project when you're done with it as well. So I hope this helped y'all. I hope you enjoyed watching, and thank you so much for your continued support in my business. It truly means the world, and have a great day.